You know, one of Canelo's greatest weapons and greatest shot selections is that unbelievable violent hook to the arms. To the arms. When a fighter is in the high guard, or when a fighter is on the back foot, front foot, on the ropes, in the center, Canelo likes to bang the arm, especially with Canelo's right hook, looping right hook to the arms. Now, you know that Canelo is a boxing historian. You know that Canelo got unbelievable IQ. Why? Because who's the first one who became famous in doing this move? It's Rocky Marciano. And you can tell that Canelo is a master who was a student. And when he was a student, he learned this move from Rocky Marciano. And that's what the greats do. And if you go back to Canelo's early fights, not just early fights, even up until a few years ago, he never utilized this technique. But Canelo got that mindset. You know, he always wants to get better. He always wants to learn. So he learned this unbelievable technique. But before I continue, I would like to tell you this. No people I would rather watch this fight with than you beautiful people. Please join me on my live stream for this fight on this channel. Getting back to it. Please, let's experience all the highs, all the lows. I'm gonna be streaming the entire card. I don't know if it's gonna be 5 hours, 4 hours, 6, 8, 10 hours, whatever it is. We're gonna build up all the way to the main event, and then after the main event finishes, I'm still, I believe, gonna be live, and we're gonna react to what I believe is about to be one of the most dramatic nights in the history of boxing. But getting back to it. This unbelievable technique, will it work on Bud? I think, you might call me crazy, but I have watched so much tape of Bud and Canelo leading up to this fight that I'm I'm watching Bud's tape and I'm seeing Canelo's left hook, the way he throws the left hook and the right uppercut. And I'm saying, in which position can he throw it versus the southpaw, versus Bud in the southpaw stance, versus Bud in the orthodox stance. And let me tell you, when it comes to this move, banging the arms, banging the biceps, you know, I believe Canelo bangs the biceps and the arms when you talk about two fighters. Stationary targets, people who don't really move, and more times than not, orthodox fighters. Now, Bud, if you go back into Bud's fights, one thing that he does extremely well is catch and shoot. The moment Bud is in the high guard and you're not on the outside, you're in close range, and you throw anything, he just throws the check hook like a slingshot. And with Bud being a southpaw and Canelo being an orthodox, when Canelo in close range, he likes to unleash that left hook. But when he's in outside range, he likes to double up and come with the right hook. But because of Bud's style, I believe that Canelo will try to utilize more the left hook to bang Bud's arms. But go back into all of Bud's fights, when he shells up in the high guard, he waits for you to throw on his right side for him to instantly catch and shoot that check hook like a slingshot. And that was the finishing sequence in the Errol Spence fight. The last finishing sequence, Spence threw the left hand, and Bud was in the high guard. He immediately threw that left hook, that check hook like a slingshot, that right hook, and finished Spence. But if you go back to that Errol Spence fight in the second round, you know when I believe Bud Crawford put the fear of God in Spence's heart? Go back into the second round and watch, you know, I believe 1.5 minutes in, Spence was pushing the action and Spence threw the left, but Bud was in the high guard and he threw the check hook. And listen to the crowd. They were literally, nearly 20,000 people when Bud threw the check hook, even though it didn't land. Spence ducked out of the way just. But that shot was so violent and ferocious and deadly. Just listen to the crowd. They were And after that, Spence smiled. But then he stood and jabbed with Crawford, but Crawford jabbed him 2-3 times with the power jab, and Spence tried to grab Crawford, but Crawford pushed him off. and the fight was over that second. Now getting back to the styles of Canelo and Bud, what does Canelo do better than Spence when you talk about the sequence? When Canelo throws, I made a video about this actually, if you go back to my videos. What makes Canelo so unbelievable when it comes to his chin and his defense is his stance. He's always standing in the perfect position to land a power shot and to absorb a power shot. And that is why he can take a shot so well, and that is why he can throw a shot so well, a power shot. It's because of his stance. He's always in position to absorb a shot and to land the shot and to counter. And Canelo, Canelo's check hook, counter check hook, is slower and wider than Crawford's check hook. Crawford's counter check hook is much tighter, aka more lethal. Canelo, he loads up more, which is why it's slower. Crawford doesn't really load on his check hook. Actually, that's why Crawford loves to fight in the southpaw stance, is because his power hand is his right hand. And he likes to discipline you with the right hand, with the jab or with the check hook coming in, but when you're on the center line, he makes you pay with the backhand. Listen, I've watched so much Bud tape and so much Canelo tape over the last 3 to 4 weeks. It's absolutely insane how good Bud and Canelo are. Like, they are so good. I don't think that the die-hard Canelo fans will appreciate Bud, and I don't think that the die-hard Bud fans will appreciate Canelo. But me, with both fighters being my 2 favorite fighters, my appreciation for them, oh my God. Like, if you only knew the subtle details, even that Canelo did versus Yildirim, even though Yildirim is not that good, and even Bud versus Avanesian, so many things they do regardless of the opposition. Only a casual fan can rate a fighter based on the opposition. But if you are a true combat fanatic, you will see what they do regardless of the opposition. Why? Because listen, at the elite level, in high-level boxing, anything can happen. History shows. How many upsets have we seen? How many upset knockouts or people getting caught with crazy shots by much lesser fighters? But the reason why Canelo and Bud, Bud never lost a fight, but Canelo won more times than not. The reason why more times than not at the elite level they come out, they reign supreme, is because regardless of the opposition, they are unbelievable and they can handle themselves extremely well in any era. Now getting back to this exact punch, this specific punch, punching the arms, of course Canelo will have some success, but it's not gonna work like it worked on Callum Smith. I promise you. Callum does have a catch and shoot, but like I always say, I always give it to you straight. There's an interview of Callum Smith on Fight Week, Canelo Fight Week, on Boxing Social. Callum Smith, if you go back to that, he knew he was going to lose the fight. He walked in, they told him, do you feel ready on Boxing Social? He was like, what can I do? I wish I would have had a better notice for this fight because I would have been in better shape. And I don't think I will be 100% on Fight Night because of the 10-pound rehydration clause. I saw that interview, I was like, oh my God. He knows he's going to lose this fight. And what do you know? He didn't fight back. He shelled up, and his victory was to go 12 rounds versus Canelo. And even Canelo, later on in that fight, you can feel he kind of felt bad for Callum. Callum was submissive. He submitted to Canelo in his mannerisms, in his posture, in his, like I said, the way that he was retreating. And if you know anything about Callum Smith, listen. But that moment got to Callum. Not everyone can handle the big moments. Crawford is born for the big moments, I promise you. And I promise you, Bud is coming in not to lay down. I promise you, But Crawford got winning on his mind. I promise you that Terence Crawford doesn't have a single doubt in his mind that he's coming in to take everything from Canelo, to take every single belt in boxing, and to leave Allegiant Stadium with every single belt in boxing on his shoulders and on his waist. Bring on September 13th.